Welcome to Watch, Review, Repeat. This is the podcast where two best friends discuss the latest in film and television and then do it all over again the following week. My name is Colton Brown, and joining me, back from his cruise, it's Andrew Meadows.
Cruising with no-no, as they say. I went cruising with no-no on Cruise Line Liberty. The cruise line was Carnival, but it was a Liberty ship, and we went to the Bahamas. And I am back a week and a half later, just about now, and I now have a voice again. I lost my voice.
Had a real dandy of a time, then, it sounds like.
I did. I had a very, very good time. I will be returning on the cruise ships. Cruise ships never thought they would be a thing I'd be into, but I am really into cruise ships. Or Long Islands. I am also into those. So perhaps that played an influence. I don't know. But we'll talk about it in the catching up section, I suppose.
Oh, yes. I just wanted to give our listeners a little bit of a tease. It has been a long time since we've sat down to record, hasn't it? Because I guess we convened for The Lion King before you set sail.
That's right.
And it's been a little bit since you've been acclimating back to, the old US and they.
The mainland life, as they say in the islands.
Life, that's right. But we're here, and we're talking none other than the latest from Mr. Quentin Tarantino himself, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Boom.
I think we've been pretty hyped on this one for a bit, yeah?
Tarantino movie comes out, you get excited about it and you go see it.
You park your happy ass in the theater and you sit there for all 3 hours of it and maybe have some thoughts on it.
At least we do.
That's true, and that's why we're here, because we did it.
So my fun fact, I'll just dump right into it. Can we do that?
Okay.
Can we just
all
jump
right.
right into
Yeah, absolutely.
fact?
Absolutely.
So my fun fact is a lot of fucking people don't like Tarantino. A lot of people say he's misogynist. He didn't like fucking women. And he doesn't give them lines. And he doesn't, he shows violence against women, which there is one particular scene where there's a particularly violent scene against a woman in this movie. But I would say that Tarantino... Oh, and they also say Tarantino steals scenes and shit from other movies.
Is it theft or is it an homage?
That's the question. Is it an homage or is it straight fucking theft? And I would say that no other... The movies that he pulled from, or he'll pull a scene from, or what have you, I think it's totally an homage. I would say it's an homage, and I think Tarantino is a fabulous actor, and I think, or not actor, but director, and I think Tarantino... Well,
he's not very good with accents, if Django Unchained was any proof of that.
Yeah, no, he sucks at accents. He's not an actor. But he's got excellent vision. I think he's a fabulous director. And a
true auteur.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I don't think there's any debating that. But he's like, I don't know, he's definitely one of my favorite directors. He puts out a lot of really good stuff, and I think that he's a champion I mean, Kill Bill. Kill Bill's fucking, you don't get, I feel like that's a champion for women movie, I think. But I'm a male. I guess I don't have a valid input, but that's my opinion of it anyways. What do you think about it? What do you think about Tarantino?
I think he's definitely a champion for putting feet as close to the camera lens as humanly possible. He's definitely a big fan of that. If this movie is any indication,
right on
I like
camera.
Tarantino a lot, and some grody ass feet too, I must say. I like Tarantino a lot. I would say that whoever the they is that you're mentioning, I think there's merit to some things that they're saying, in the sense that. Yeah, he definitely, I think he does lift things wholesale from other things, but I feel like he's the kind of person that kind of, like he's not doing it to just flat out steal things. Like that's his way of paying homage to things that he loves because he's an avid cinephile, basically. Like I think that's his way of kind of paying it forward and lifting kind of things from probably a lot of movies that people haven't seen. And
they'll never
bringing
see
that to a mainstream audience, right?
They'll never fucking see them.
It's taking things that are obscure and making them more mainstream. And yeah, I guess maybe people don't know. People are none the wiser, and they'll give him credit for it or whatever. But I don't think he's the kind of guy that will,
and he flat out says it.
But
he flat out says, hey, listen, this movie drew inspiration, and I was inspired by this and this and this and this, and this is present in the movie.
Yeah, I think he wears it on his sleeve. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, yeah, I think you could probably say that there are issues with representation, sure. Not sure that there's a single black person in this movie we're talking about today. Or if there is, there's not a black character of note.
There's an Asian person.
And that itself has sparked controversy, too. So there's that.
There's the thing about Tarantino is he can't make a movie, and I think this is important. He can't make a movie without controversy. Every movie he's made has had controversy. And that's because I would argue, I mean, I feel like if he was making shit movies, nobody would fucking care. He makes good movies on a huge platform, and they're fucking good. They're good movies. Anyway, so my fun fact is a lot of people might know, a lot of people might not know, but Tarantino doesn't text message. He doesn't do that sort of thing. He fires people for using cell phones on sets. And according to Brad Pitt in an interview, I don't have the source material in front of me, but according to Brad Pitt, the only way he does text messages, he sends voice recordings. He records his voice and then sends it via text.
Yep, that sounds about right. Yep.
Which is pretty great. He also doesn't use a cell phone. I guess you can't call him on a cell phone. You got to call him on his home phone, which is pretty funny.
I mean, there's no doubt that Quentin Tarantino is a unique animal. He's definitively himself, and I guess
that's
maybe it's just kind of a take it or leave it kind of thing. I think that in our experience, I've gelled with probably almost every single one of his movies that he's made, with maybe the exception of Death Proof, which I don't love, but I feel like every other Tarantino film has offered something for me. Even Death Proof. I don't love it overall, but that first half is golden. It's
never
the
saw
second half where it kind of falls off.
It's the only
Tarantino
movie I never saw.
But I mean, I think that. Well, did you have a Tarantino pick in your top 5? I don't recall.
I really fucking like.
You did.
Kill Bill.
You had Kill Bill, right?
Oh, yeah, Kill Bill as 1 and 2. Kill Bill, like Kill Bill as a whole. The
whole bloody affair, right?
I really enjoy Kill Bill. I really enjoy it. Really enjoy Inglourious Bastards. I mean, I feel like not all of his movies, but I feel there's a handful of movies there that are kind of interchangeable with Kill Bill.
Yeah, I think Bastards is my favorite of his. I think Pulp Fiction's probably second favorite for me.
Pulp Fiction's great. Jackie Brown's fucking incredible. Jackie Brown's awesome. I don't know. I feel like the later stuff, we'll get into it. We'll talk about it. But yeah, Tarantino, I'm happy to be covering a Tarantino movie on this podcast. I don't think we've covered one yet, and I'm excited to cover it.
Yeah. So anyway, to tie it to your fun fact, which admittedly I don't think was very fun. It was mostly
a lot of people fucking talk shit about Tarantino.
Well, and like I said, and I'm not going to discount because I know there was the whole thing with Uma Thurman in the car accident, which was pretty kind of let's say questionable, I suppose.
I don't know about that. Tell me about that.
Basically, what was it? It was like a really unsafe stunt, I think, basically, that caused injuries to her, and like he kind of forced her to do it. I think that she wanted to get this was on the set of Kill Bill, I believe, with driving stunts, and I don't remember the full details on it, basically, but yeah, it was kind of something along the lines of he ended up kind of forcing her to do it. She got injured from it. And then there was some sort of dispute over, I think, the footage of like a crash that happened as a result of that, which is what kind of caused the injuries. So I don't remember the exact fallout of that, but I just
evidently
know
it's not too fucking bad. Her daughter's starring in or not starring, but she's in the fucking movie. Evidently they worked the shit out, right?
Yeah, I mean,
not to say that it's not shitty, but
right,
evidently shit was worked out. So everybody mind their own fucking business.
I assume there was some sort of resolution. I don't know. I don't remember all of the facts, and I don't have it in front of me. So, but like I said, I'm not going to just hand wave everything. I
hand wave everything.
There's been a lot of challenging to his liberal use of the N-word in movies like Django, which you could say fits the film itself.
Theories. What?
But you could also question the logic of having the whitest guy in the world making a movie where the N-word is dropped every 5 seconds. So I see. I can see that. Say what you will about accuracy, etc. I think that controversy exists for a reason. I see it. Well, I think mostly standing on the side of I really like his filmmaking capabilities, and I kind of see the questionable nature of certain things. But yeah, I'm a fan of the man. I'm a fan of the man's work. So
I don't. I would.
So anyway,
Anyway, I don't know.
So anyway, I feel like we're starting off on a real
controversial foot, as we would say.
Yeah,
for
I wonder how the listeners will respond to this. To say we usually steer clear of any sort of controversy. So
if it's on the internet, though, we established in a previous episode. I don't know if you kept it in the recording or not. We established though. I covered the internet heat, covering the hot stuff from the internet, anyways.
Oh, that's right. Yep, that's true. I think that made the final cut. I don't remember what episode it was, but I feel like it's in one of those ones that was like 6 hours long.
Somewhere.
So, yeah, it's in there somewhere. Someone will probably recognize it. Anyway, thank you for that, sir. It was an interesting conversation. Said we'll see how our listeners respond. Maybe we'll get some hate mail. I don't think we've ever gotten hate mail. That might be kind of fun.
Let's talk about it.
Let's get into some news for the bloody week. What do you think about that?
I think it's good.
All right. Well, we didn't split our news ahead of time like we usually do, so I'm just going to ask you right off the cuff. Is there anything that caught your eye in the news pool this week that you really want to talk about?
The Lighthouse.
Okay, tell me about it.
The Lighthouse. Look, I haven't seen Robert Pattinson in anything other than Shiny Vampires.
Twilight, sure.
But
future Batman, Robert Pattinson, of course.
Yeah, this looks really fucking good.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you who I'm also a fan of, and I haven't seen him in anything in quite some time. I have a movie of his floating somewhere where he plays Van Gogh, I think.
Yeah, at Eternity's Gate.
Is that what it is? I'm sure that's what it is. I own the movie somewhere. I haven't watched it yet, though. Either way, Green Goblin.
Yep.
As you were.
William Dafoe.
It looks like a fucking lighthouse keeper in this movie. And
I'm something of a lighthouse keeper myself. I feel like I just do that. Anytime Willem Dafoe comes up, I just make some variant of that joke, so I apologize if I've beaten that into the ground for anyone, but it still kind of makes me laugh, so
how long have we been on this rock? Help me recollect. I love it. The movie looks really fucking off the wall, bonkers, crazy. There's like a squid strangling somebody at some point. I don't know. It looks super art house. And kind of like Tarantino, when Tarantino's name pops up and he's directing a movie, you put your ear to the ground, you kind of listen for it and you wait for it. When I feel like when A24 is in the beginning of the fucking deal, the trailer, you kind of just let me straighten up, let me look at this seriously, and let me wait.
You had my curiosity.
That's right.
But now you have my attention.
A24 puts out some good shit. And
they do put out some good shit.
And this does not look like an exception. It looks like looks like good shit. I was going to say something more profound, but I lose the words.
Well, we watched The Witch together from director Robert Eggers, who is directing The Lighthouse. I believe we were both fans of that, despite less than ideal viewing circumstances.
That's correct. We had some people in the viewing party that perhaps does not appreciate such artsy things. But this is
and that's what I would say about this is that I think this is going to have a very limited appeal, like a mass appeal.
No one's going to see this movie. Yeah,
correct. And like I think it's probably even more obscure than the Witch was, just because of the style this is made in. It's black and white. That's going to turn people off.
Like it's like fucking 4:3.
This, I think it's safe to say, this looks like what it's going to be 100% our kind of shit.
Absolutely.
And it's so weird because I think we're both all over the map. I mean, I love my Marvel stuff. I love pretty mainstream stuff too. But when I see weird, out there indie things like this, like I get excited about that too.
You just love cinema, dude. That's why we do a podcast.
This looks
cinema.
really, really cool. I mean, it's like it's crazy to me, like how well it almost seems like it's emulating like a 40s 50s style of filmmaking too, like a Hitchcockian type style. Just even like the framing and just a lot. I mean, it doesn't feel like a modern movie that they just shot in black and white. It really feels like it is a relic of a lost time in a way.
I do feel like
super cool.
I mean, if you want to talk about the actual footage, it looks much more crisp.
Well, sure. Like they're not trying to downgrade the quality, but
yeah, the framing. I agree with you 100%. It does look like an older movie. The tone's really cool. I don't know. I'm really excited about it. I'm
definitely giving this one a go. October 18th of this year. So
out of nowhere.
It's coming right around the corner, man. That's really cool. And I think A24 did The Witch too.
They did.
If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, and the recently the Ari Aster stuff, Hereditary and Midsommar. Mm-hmm. Ex Machina.
They do Ex Machina?
Lady Bird was fucking excellent.
I never saw Lady Bird.
Not quite. It's a little bit different than this.
Yeah, totally different, but Ex Machina, they did Ex Machina?
Well, it's what it says in their YouTube description, so I'm thinking they're not lying to me. So I'm definitely excited about that. We could talk about some other trailers then. What do you think?
Yeah. What do you got? You want to alternate, or do you just want me to spill the guts about what I'm excited about?
We'll go with the flow. How about Zombieland Double Tap? I'll offer that.
Zombieland Double Tap made me laugh.
And this is apparently coming out exactly the same day, October 18th. How about that?
Shit. It's up in the air on which one I'll see then, to be completely honest with you. Lighthouse got me pretty pumped.
Both, but yeah, I think that The Lighthouse will probably be a better movie, but I can certainly see Zombieland being a more enjoyable film to watch, to just kind of take in.
More widespread success, I imagine.
Sure. I think it will definitely make more money. I think that's certainly not a hot take. It's probably the coldest of takes possible.
That's a hot take. That's my kind of hot take.
I like the beginning of like Academy Award nominee, Academy Award nominee, Academy Award nominee, Academy Award winner. So I was just like, all right,
blow up a zombie.
So we get it. Yeah. It's a fun trailer. I thought it's obviously been a long time since the first one came out. What was that? Was that?
God, 12?
That was mid 2000s. Yeah.
Was it mid 2000s? Was that long ago?
I think so. I think it was.
You're probably better, and probably more accurate than me.
My brain says, I think is it
8,
08?
9?
9. Yeah, I think 2009. So I guess late 2000s. I was thinking it might have been a little earlier than that. But yeah, still 10 years. It's been fucking 10 years, which is kind of crazy to think about. But, yeah, I mean, it's interesting that they're going back to it finally. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's the same director came back hot off the heels of Bloody Venom. Ruben Fleischer's back in the director's chair for
oh God, that doesn't inspire confidence
for Zombieland Double Tap. Yeah, I thought there was a conspicuous lack of zombie action. It was obviously very focused on the human aspects of it, but we did get a little bit of carnage towards the end, oh wow! I just put Venom and Carnage in like a minute away from each other. Wow, it's really the symbiote tendrils are stuck in my brain, man. So yeah, it looks fun though. A little Rosario Dawson action. Always appreciated.
Cool. Absolutely.
It's the same writers that did the first one as well. Rhett Reese, Paul Wernick, who went on to do Deadpool. So that's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. It's got Woody Harrelson. I'm in.
Yeah, Woody Harrelson. We love Woody Harrelson. I think we're less enamored with Jesse Eisenberg, although he has his moments.
Jesse Eisenberg's a fucking fine actor. He just, I don't know how he picks his roles.
He's got one mode, and that's fine. Unfortunately, when that coincides with being Lex Luthor, you're kind of just like, really? What is this? Like that's the kind of thing where when I think of Jesse Eisenberg, and it's like they
want to pay me
to play himself as Lex Luthor.
To be Lex Luthor? I'll fucking be Lex Luthor.
Right, and it's like I shouldn't hold it against the man. He didn't cast himself in that role, but right. I still feel a little animosity as a result of that. But perhaps I'm directing it towards the wrong source. Abigail Breslin, all grown up. I haven't seen her a lot recently. But
I didn't IMDb her. I didn't, but it's all good. It's all good.
But
I'm excited about it.
I think it looks fun. I enjoyed the copycats at the end. I thought
that was the best part of the trailer.
Fucking middle ditch, just coming around the corner. That was great.
I enjoyed the guy. What's up with the guys from like My Dog Skip or some shit? That's probably not the same guy. What's the guy's name that was driving the monster truck?
Luke Wilson? Is that?
Yeah, Luke Wilson. Fucking Luke Wilson. What the fuck's he in? Luke Wilson.
I don't know. He's another one. I'm like, what's the last thing Luke Wilson was in that I saw? It's probably been 10 years.
I think maybe My Dog Skip, but it's definitely not My Dog Skip. I definitely got that wrong.
Oh, I don't know. You might be right. You might be wrong.
No, I'm definitely
There's no way to
wrong.
know. There's unfortunately
My Dog Skip was a totally different actor.
No way to know.
I can see his face, but either way, I'm definitely wrong. I tell you what I am excited about. I think it's pretty good.
Yes, tell me.
And that's The Irishman.
Oh, some Netflix action from Martin Scorsese. Is that the one?
What's a Martin Scorsese movie? I know he gets a lot of praise, but I can't honestly think of a movie that I've seen that he directed. I can't think of any.
Could you think of any that maybe star Robert De Niro and maybe Joe Pesci as well? No? Nothing?
Nothing.
Well, De Niro, we can start there. Did you see Taxi Driver back in the 70s?
Yes.
I assume you didn't see it in the 70s, but probably
no, but I didn't. I own it. Right. I've seen
that
Taxi
would be
Driver.
one. Casino. Did you see Casino?
No, I never saw Casino.
Okay, fair enough. You did Wolf of Wall Street a few years ago. Did you ever see that?
No, I need to watch that one. I heard a lot of good things about it. I like the gifts from it. I've never seen it, though.
Departed? You see The Departed?
I did.
Okay, that was him.
Okay.
So you've seen some. I think you've seen some.
Yeah, The Irishman looks fucking cool. I don't have much else.
All right, very good. All right,
much more of an impactful opinion about it.
I think I have the Blu-ray for Silence, which I heard was incredible. It has Kylo Ren in it and other Spider-Man, Garfield, I think. But I never watched it. Oh,
is it another fucking
and notorious racist Liam Neeson as well? So it's probably aged well as a result of that.
I can't believe that dude was.
Jesus.
That was a bad deal. You never heard Quentin Tarantino doing that sort of shit.
No.
You know,
Goodfellas. Come on.
I've seen Goodfellas. Yeah, Goodfellas is incredible. Is that Scorsese?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Raging Bull?
Okay. I've seen Raging Bull as well. Okay, I didn't know all those were him. So was Silence another one of those crime movies?
No. It was totally unrelated. I was just looking at the more recent films. Silence was like it was like priests that like travel abroad to do. To spread the word of God.
Okay, yeah.
To savage foreigners and such.
I remember seeing something about that. Mm-hmm. I could see the poster in my brain, but I've never seen it.
Very, very, very artsy. There's definitely quite a few films on his resume that I'm looking at now that I haven't seen myself. But
he's obviously an accomplished filmmaker.
Correct, absolutely. And this looks like the work of an accomplished filmmer.
It does. It looks pretty fucking
with an
great.
impressive cast. I think bringing Joe Pesci out of retirement for this, if I'm not mistaken, which is cool. I mean, I feel like it's kind of going back to that Joe Pesci niche of, gangster role. But either way, he's good at it.
Yeah. No, he's great. Goodfellas role.
Right. Exactly. It looks
totally
good. I like what I see from it. I think it's definitely coming to Netflix. I think it's also supposed to get some sort of theatrical release. I don't know if that's going to be like a 4-city type thing or how they're going to do it. But this to me feels like 2019's Roma, like where this is going to get a big Academy Award push, if I had to guess. And hopefully it lives up to the lofty expectations that would come attached to such a thing. But it looks really good. It's like a wildly different style than something like The Lighthouse, but I kind of feel like this is something it's going to be it feels authentically Scorsese, and that's cool too. You know what I mean?
That's good enough, right?
Right. I think it's premiering in the fall sometime. It's a kind of film for me. I think if it does get a theatrical release that's wide enough, I would probably prefer it to see that way, as opposed to just plopping on the bed and watching it on Netflix. Not that I wouldn't do that, but I just like for something like Roma, like as impactful as it was for me to just watch it, I really feel like it could have benefited from a proper
that would have benefited
like
from
cinematic environment.
Absolutely.
So
would have been great.
I get the sense that this is kind of the same way. So we'll see what happens with it, but we'll watch it regardless for sure. So yeah,
absolutely. Got anything else? What do you got? Give me some action.
Well, I think what we can do is we can talk about the last film trailer we have, and then we'll have nothing but TV news left over. That seems like a good direction to go. So, how about 1917, new film from Sam Mendes? I think it might be his first film that he's done since doing the couple Bond films that he did, Skyfall and Spectre. And it's an epic set in a world war, except for like the first time in forever, it's World War I that's getting highlighted and not World War II. So that's interesting. Probably a lot of trench action, if I had to guess. There's a reason that World War II gets most of the films around it, because it was a little bit more quote unquote exciting, if you want to frame it as such. Kind of a gross thing to say about wars, but I suppose there's a decent amount of distance from a lot of these that, people just, it's like people think of World War II and you think of Call of Duty, a lot of people, I would imagine. So, it looks striking in parts. I cannot unsee fucking Tommen. Anytime I see him in anything, I just see Tommen, and so I find that incredibly distracting. That's maybe just a personal quirk, but maybe it just runs in the Lannister clan, because anytime I see Joffrey, I don't even know the actor's name. Good God, what's his name?
Tommen?
No, the actor that plays Joffrey. Jack Gleason. Anytime I see Jack Gleason, you just see Joffrey, and I don't think he acts anymore, so it's probably fine. But like, still, there's just that association for me, which is I'm just like, why is Tommen running around in World War I? This is ridiculous. You know what I mean?
That's not right.
But it's fine. Good on him. He's got, he's an actor. He's got to make a living, and this is a pretty big role. It looks like so good on him. Like I said, it's Dunkirk, but World War I. It kind of seems to be a little bit of the vibe. Obviously, no Christopher Nolan here, and maybe the sound mixing will be a little bit different. Maybe this one won't be cranked up to 11 at all times. But
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yep, there was a Cumberbatch sighting at some point in the trailer. That's true. What do you think? You in on this one?
Of course. War epic with Cumberbatch. I'm totally in. It's pretty much what I got. I had this little cat. I had this little kitten named Charlie. He's a bit of an asshole, and I don't know if you could hear him chewing this box the entire time. But he's driving me absolutely fucking ape shit.
I haven't picked up on it myself, but I would be curious to when I go into the editing bay. I may find myself quite annoyed myself, and thus our listeners may feel the same way. But we'll find out.
But I've had enough. And Charlie, I swear to God, if you don't get rid of the box. Hey, he's away from the box now. That's how that works.
Yeah, that'll do the trick.
That'll do it every time.
Final
so
thoughts?
1917. I'm in. We'll cover it.
It is getting. Let's see here. It says December, but from what I can tell, it's a limited release in December and expanding wide in early January. So either way, late end of the year, early next year. Definitely see it. We got some TV news we can slide over to. Is there any of the remaining news concerning TV that gets you excited? I think there's at least one. I know for a fact should get you excited. I think.
I feel like there's a split decision here, and I'm gonna pick fucking Jack Ryan. I'm excited for Jack Ryan.
Okay, all right. Season 2 official teaser. What gets you excited about Jack Ryan? Is it Jim from The Office? Because he's back?
He's back, baby. He's back from his killer year of 2018. Was that his year or was 2017?
I think it might have been 17, because maybe it was 18. When did A Quiet Place come out? It was whenever that came out.
Yeah. So he's he's back at it again, but now he's doing...
That was last year. Wow, that was last year. Wow.
It's fucking good.
Time flies, man.
He had a good year. Yeah,
he did.
He had a good year, dude.
Sure did.
Real fucking good year. And he's back, and he's skydiving and shit, or not skydiving, he's doing some military shit.
Yeah.
Blowing some stuff up.
Being a badass. Doesn't look like any analyst I've ever seen, let's put it that way.
Right. And I don't know about you, but I'm all about it. I think he's pretty great. I kind of really like, Jim from The Office.
I do too.
I think he's pretty good at what he's been choosing to do lately.
Yeah, and I think well, at least I can say myself am clamoring for him to play certain Reed Richards in a certain future MCU project.
Is that confirmed?
No way.
No,
it's not. No,
Okay.
it's not. I'm just saying I'm clamoring for that. I think that
Did
would
I
be
meet
great.
that? Did I miss that fucking news? Because that's incredible.
No. But like he and Emily Blunt have been fan casted to the end of like to everyone's probably at the end of their wits for Reed and Sue, and I'm fucking all in. Like
That would listen.
Yes,
that
please.
would be full. If Marvel calls him and says, "Hey, listen, dude, we kind of want you to play Reed Richards," and if he said no, he's a stupid man. That is a good paycheck, sir.
It's a good
Take that paycheck,
and it could be a meaty role if you adapt Reed properly, i.e., not how they've done it and the attempts that they've made historically.
No, yeah, he would make a fantastic Reed.
And he would be great.
The side's gray. He'd be all about it. I could see it. Yeah, fucking. And
he was in talks for Captain America, man. He was in like the final running for it. So
was he really?
He's clearly not above talking to Marvel. So
that would be the perfect role. That'd be such a fantastic role. Man, fuck yeah.
Oh, a fantastic role. oh, guffaw.
Anyways,
yeah, Jack Ryan looks cool. We liked season 1. We talked about it, obviously, a while back. And if anyone sees this teaser and thinks, oh, maybe I should go watch season 1. Yeah, season 1, I think we liked it pretty well. Obviously, you're excited for season 2, which to me implies that you liked season 1.
I like season 1 well enough.
Yeah, this trailer was very snappy, like a pretty action heavy, very little dialogue kind of thing. But I wonder if that's going to translate to the actual season or not. But yeah, I'm in on season 2. I'm not sure if it's a day 1 watch for me, but it's definitely put it higher on the list kind of thing.
Just depends on what's planned when it comes out.
That's exactly it. Like if it's timed really well, then I feel like it's something that I could put, I could fast track. This teaser didn't have a date, but I wonder because I feel like it's coming out pretty soon. If I'm not mistaken, like my brain is telling me like literally like August, but maybe that's just when the first season aired and that's why it's in my head. Because I feel like they probably just would have announced a date on it instead of just not announcing a date on it in the trailer. Yeah, I don't know. I don't see anything immediately. So anyway, later this year, we do know that. So that's cool. I can talk about my DC stuff because I know you're not going to talk about it.
I will not talk about the DC stuff.
Okay.
What do you got?
I got some pretty cool DC stuff, I think. Because I know we talked about, the upcoming Arrowverse crossover this season's going to be the Crisis on Infinite Earths, which is pulling a lot of really interesting threads. I think the thing that got you excited when we talked about it last was Brandon Routh playing the Kingdom Come Superman.
That's pretty cool.
Which is pretty cool. And we've got some other pretty cool things happening. So Black Lightning is finally joining the Arrowverse. It's been separated through its entire run on the CW so far. But Cress Williams, who plays Black Lightning, basically announced, I think on Instagram, that you guys have been asking for it, and it's going to happen. So we'll see if that has any sort of permanent repercussions in terms of Black Lightning being connected to the rest, or if it's just going to be kind of for this one-off crossover thing, and then everyone kind of goes their separate ways, and he's in his own section of the multiverse, or how that's going to work. I think it's pretty cool, and I don't mean to make light of that, but I think the cooler news, I think something that's going to get people really excited, something that gets me really excited, is the fact that Bruce Wayne himself, old Bruce Wayne from some future, is going to make an appearance on Crisis on Infinite Earths. And he's going to be portrayed by a man who has spent probably the best part of his adult life voicing Batman, Kevin Conroy.
No.
First live action appearance as the Batman.
Holy shit.
Just Bruce Wayne, just an older Bruce Wayne. That's really fucking cool.
That is really cool.
I feel like I love how crazy and out there they're getting with it. I know a lot of people are wanting, expecting, hoping that they'll snag someone from Smallville as well. Like people kind of want to see Tom Welling suit up, and I think that would be pretty badass because they didn't really get any of that in like all 18 seasons of Smallville that aired. So that would be kind of a fun thing to do to kind of close the loop on something like that. So anyway,
I feel like DC would do it too. I mean, or not DC, but CW would do it.
Oh no, I think the issue is whether the Smallville cast is going to be game. Allison Mack probably otherwise occupied. She might be in prison. I'm not sure what happened with her.
What the fuck happened to her? She's in
her sex cult.
Oh,
thing,
I did hear about
she was
that.
Branding everyone.
What the fuck is a sex cult, anyways? I mean, I've been meaning to ask you about that. What the fuck?
It's another thing that I don't remember the full details on, other than basically bringing in randos and like branding them with, like literally branding them with fucking hot metal and shit. Like,
that's like some serious
forcing
cult
them
shit.
into, yeah, like some seriously illegal shit as well. So anyway, she's canceled. But I think the rest of Smallville, I think, is pretty all right. I think they've made it out all right. Rosenbaum, Lex, apparently a really good Lex Luthor. I think he's denied that he would appear on this crossover. To me, it sounds like maybe he was asked and he said no. But I don't know. I think Tom Welling and Stephen Amell have like gotten along in the past, and like, you know, so I don't know. Maybe something will happen with Smallville, but there's nothing happening on that front as far as we're aware. But there's still time. I don't think they're filming this for maybe another few weeks at least. So anyway, that's that. That's Crisis on Infinite Earths. It said just some more cool happenings on that front. That's all I got for that thing.
I got Mindhunter Season 2 trailer.
Okay. Do you now? This is right around the corner, by the way. I don't know if you saw that.
I did see that.
August 16th. I mean,
yeah.
by the time this episode goes up, which I don't know when it's going to go up, it'll be pretty close to airing.
Which is
dropping
pretty
all
incredible.
at once on Netflix.
Pretty
which is
excited
nice, yeah.
about that.
I like the quick turnaround. That's fun.
I really enjoyed Season 1 of Mindhunter, and I'm kind of really excited about Season 2. That actually might be a show that I show my lady friend, because she likes those kinds of shows.
So you might do a Season 1 revisit then, you're thinking?
Might do a Season 1 revisit, make her a force viewing, and see if she likes it or not.
Yeah, I really liked Mindhunter. First season was pretty great. Definitely my kind of shit to begin with.
It's Fincher, right?
Correct. I know he directed a few in the first season. I think he's directing a few more this time around as well. But he's a producer on it, very heavily involved, I think, in it. And it has his fingerprints all over it too. As someone, like, it's a very Zodiac vibe, and that's where I'm just like,
that's cool.
I like this a lot. Bringing back all the cast. We get at the end of the trailer they bring back Kemper. Is that the guy, Ed Kemper?
Yeah,
very soft-spoken.
He's a short man.
Glasses.
He's very short.
Yeah,
don't stare. He's a short man.
And so there's a little look at Manson. There's a teaser that came out a few weeks back as well. I'm not sure if you saw that when it came out. I think you got a full-on look at Manson in that.
And that looked pretty great.
Mm-hmm. Now can I give you a fun fact? A middle of the episode fun fact?
Middle of the episode fun fact. Give it to me. Lay it on me.
One that is probably going to pop up again if we talk about Mindhunter in the future. So Charlie Manson also appears in a certain project that we're talking about today, very briefly, called Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, where he's portrayed by Damon Harriman, who is an Australian actor who is fucking fantastic on Justified. And the absolute madman is also playing Manson in Mindhunter Season 2. In two very different points in his life. He's kind of a younger Manson, a pre-prison Manson in Hollywood, and then here it's kind of the swastika carved into the forehead variant of Manson that we had later in his life.
Right.
And I can't think of that ever happening before. I'm sure there's certainly examples of it happening where, someone's played the same character before, but for it to happen, well, obviously that's kind of how sequels work, is people just play the same characters they played before. But like to like totally unrelated projects, for them to just like within like a year of each other, or no, literally the same fucking year, to just play the same kind of character like that. That's really kind of interesting. And so, like I said, completely unconnected projects, I should say, because otherwise you'll just be like, yeah, well, Chris Evans played Captain America 2 or 3 times in the same year in unrelated projects. I'm like, yeah, that's cheating. Go fuck off. That's my response to that. Hypothetical response to that hypothetical response. So anyway, Mindhunter Season 2 looks great. August 16th is when it drops. All episodes. I am looking forward to it.
As am I.
Well, I've got one last bit of TV news. One that I thought for sure you would snag. I thought for sure.
I thought about it.
You're full of surprises. You're just full of surprises, apparently. The Expanse. Things are
Not only we're getting season 4 from Amazon.
Pretty good.
We're getting season 5.
It's true. Season 5 is happening. Amazon says, move over Sci-Fi.
We're buying 2.
We're Mr. Steal Your Show. Sci-Fi canceled it, so fuck them. But yeah, season 4 hasn't even aired yet. We've barely scratched the surface with that. They gave us a little bit of footage with Comic-Con, but December is when season 4 returns, and we know that season 5 is on the horizon as well, which is pretty excellent. There's a lot of source material to cover, and it kind of seemed like that was always a pipe dream as far as Sci-Fi was concerned, both in terms of timeline, in terms of budget, anything you say. But now that Jeff Bezos is pulling the strings here, they've got plenty of money to work with, and it kind of seems like they're comfortable to dole out a little bit of money on the Expanse, which is very exciting. It's very cool.
They have almost unlimited funds.
Theoretically, I mean, they don't.
Jeff Bezos could just say unlimited funds.
Yeah, Jeff Bezos could just drop $1 billion on funding a single season of Expanse. This is going to be the most expensive season of television ever created, and also I'll have many billions to go home with. Yeah, that is absolutely correct. That's 100% a correct statement. Will that happen? No, because billionaires like to hold on to their money. They could certainly be wasteful with it, but it's one of those things. Like
I feel like it would get much more publicity.
I could spend $10 billion and fund 800 years of The Expanse, and I would still be living comfortably with my other billions of dollars. It's absolutely wild.
Comfortably is an understatement. He got divorced. She took half his money. He's still the richest man. Now she's the richest woman. That's how much money they have.
It's fucking wild.
It's disgusting is what it is. Fucking A. But he's funding The Expanse, so I'll allow it. Fuck him.
I'm pretty sure he's the one pulling the strings on everything. Dude's got enough money to control the whole goddamn world. It's probably, right?
Yeah, it's not unrealistic, I don't think. That's hilarious. Anyways, that's all I got for news. What do you have for news?
That's all I got. I mean, season 5's happening. That's exciting. But there's not much more to talk about. We'll have more to talk about in December when the new season comes out, but until then, we'll just have to make do with knowing that there's more on the horizon. Shall we proceed to the main topic of the week, sir?
We shall. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was directed and written and directed by Quentin Tarantino. Stars an all-star cast. He's pulling out all the stops. He's pulling out all his connects. He's bringing in the likes of Leonardo DiCaprio, Brad Pitt, Margot Robbie, Emile Hirsch, Margaret Qualley, Timothy Olyphant, Julia Butters, Austin Butler, Dakota Fanning, Bruce Dern, Mike Moe, Luke Perry, rest in peace, final film role, Damian Lewis, and Al Pacino. The Killing. I love The Killing. Anyway, sorry. A faded television actor and a stunt double strive to achieve fame and success in the film industry during the final years of Hollywood's golden age in 1969 Los Angeles. Shall we talk box office for it as well?
Let's talk about it, dude.
All right, let's talk about it. $41.1 million in its opening weekend. Does that sound like a good figure to you? Does that seem like a good amount for a very rated R 3-hour film?
49 million?
41 million, yeah.
41?
3-day take?
That sounds pretty good. What do you think?
Pretty good. It wasn't good for number one because, The Lion King was out doing some pretty good return business. But yeah, it marks a personal best for Quentin Tarantino's films. It's the largest ever weekend debut for any of his films. I think it just beat out maybe Bastards and Django by a few $1 million a piece. But yeah, pretty good. As of now, it's at $84.4 million total domestically. So it should cross $100 million, which just seems like a pretty good milestone for a film like this. Doesn't seem to have debuted anywhere overseas, because I cannot see any overseas figures whatsoever. So I'm not sure what the plan is for that. I assume it's going to get a release at some point, but clearly some sort of staggered release is, I guess, kind of what they're going for. But thinking that since we don't have any worldwide numbers to share on Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I figure I can go ahead and just mention some worldwide numbers for The Lion King, which has officially joined the Billy Club.
Very nice.
It's the 78th Disney film in 2019 alone to cross the $1 billion threshold. It's probably like the 5th one, to be fair, but still. 6th one? I don't know. They're crushing it. They're out here crushing it. Lion King's at $1.2 billion right now. So yeah, it's doing all right for itself. It's not going to beat Avengers. All right. Disney's just going to have to go home content with all these $1 billion grossers. But I think they're feeling okay.
They're feeling okay.
So anyway, that's enough Lion King. Well, maybe we'll talk about it at some point in the future, later in the episode. Sizzle. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. You saw it last night, if I am correct. Am I correct? Tell me if I'm correct.
You're correct.
Okay. So you've had a night to sleep on it, to process it. Tell me about it. How does this stack up with the rest of Mr. Tarantino's filmography?
So it's not my favorite.
It's not your favorite.
It's not my favorite.
Okay.
We'll lead with that. I thought it was very entertaining at points. I don't think it was overall. I don't think it was consistently entertaining. I wasn't entertained consistently, but when it did hit, it's like, yeah, I'm watching a Tarantino movie and I liked it. I thought it was inconsistent at points. I thought that the cast was stellar. Leonardo is awesome as Rick Dalton. Brad Pitt's awesome as Cliff Booth, the stunt double for Leonardo. I think those two. I actually, independent of a period piece about, the hippies as they were known, I feel like a Leonardo DiCaprio Brad Pitt movie directed by Quentin Tarantino, the adventures of those two would have been fucking fine. I thought it was awesome. I thought those two were great. Which I think ultimately was this movie, because I never paid much mind to the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I never paid much mind to the title, so I didn't know what I was getting into. I didn't know the angle that they were going to take this movie in, up until the very end. It wasn't until the very end of this movie that I realized that I was getting something different than what I expected.
I feel like we should revisit that in spoilers, because I'm curious to know what you expected. Because certainly we'll talk about what we got in spoilers, right. and that whole third act is
we can talk about what we expected, right?
Very spoilers, but yeah, interestingly, this is almost exactly what I expected. So that's why I'm curious to revisit that.
Yeah, I never paid mind into it, but. Yeah, I thought the cast was absolutely stellar. I just think there was inconsistent bits in the writing, and I think that maybe, it is a Tarantino movie, and Tarantino movies are long. They're long movies. But I didn't. There were points where I didn't feel like it was a Tarantino movie. Cinematography was there. That was certainly there. But I didn't feel like in some places I didn't feel like the dialogue was as beatboxy as it usually is. I just didn't, and I had trouble identifying with the characters on a consistent basis. So, the soundtrack was incredible. That wasn't lacking. Cinematography was awesome. The period piece, he nailed the period piece. I think, the set design and the costumes and the a lot of that stuff was on point, but like I said, on a consistent basis, I didn't jive with the characters 100% of the time. So I would say that, and like I said, not my favorite Tarantino movie, but it's certainly a Tarantino movie, and I certainly enjoyed it. So that's what I got.
This is probably upper half Tarantino for me. I really, really liked this. I thought it was great. I had a great time with it. I think I kind of see what you mean about. I think the first 2/3 of this are a little bit more standard fare than maybe you come to expect from Tarantino. I think there's flourishes in there that are very definitively Tarantino, like an extended 5 to 10 minute flashback cut back to a certain thing, and then you're just like, okay, I think right. there's moments absolutely where you feel like this is a Tarantino movie for sure. But I do kind of see what you mean about how it doesn't always kind of have that sort of flavor to it. For me, I think the joy of me watching it, I've only seen it the once, is that through the first 2 acts, I didn't know exactly. Where it ended up going was kind of where I suspected it would go, but it never really quite seemed to be in a rush to get there. And I think that's just the nature of Tarantino's kind of very long-winded nature of filmmaking.
Which isn't a problem.
No, it's not. But I think his last few have been a little bit more meandering about getting there. I think that's true of Hateful Eight. I think that's true of Django. It's not to say that I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, but I think it's a uniquely kind of Tarantino thing where he is oftentimes somewhat self-indulgent about his filmmaking. And as someone that really likes his style of filmmaking, I'm okay with that. But I think that that's going to be somewhat problematic for anyone that's not kind of already on board with that sort of thing, because this is a long movie. There's no sugarcoating it. It's definitely a long movie. And for most of it, it's kind of just content to just have you go through a day in the life with Rick Dalton and with Cliff Booth and
it's
with
great.
Sharon Tate.
Oh, it was awesome.
Right, and I really enjoyed that. I was content, honestly, just to spend that day in the life because I found all of the performances incredibly charming, incredibly interesting. I mean, I guess I kind of maybe see what you... I found the characters charismatic enough for me that I was invested on that basis alone. Maybe there wasn't a ton of, I guess, depth to anyone in particular, but I think the way that, I mean, to me, it's kind of its own love letter to movie making in its own sort of way. It's a retrospective piece on the late '60s and the Hollywood scene at that point, and that's to me, I think where you can kind of see like Tarantino's influences shining through is like he's probably someone that fucking loves this era of cinema and loves this era of filmmaking and TV
it's pretty
and stuff
great.
Like that. This is his way of kind of making his love letter to that,
and it shines through. It does shine through.
Yeah, it absolutely does. And I think people get kind of up in arms about like Hollywood making movies about Hollywood. Like that's always a thing that people are like, oh, Oscar bait or blah blah blah. And I think there's typically an element to that, but I didn't really feel it here. To me, I feel like this is incredibly like approachable like material for me. I mean, I think it's interesting to see a Tarantino riff on that because Tarantino is just not going to do what everyone else does. If anyone else made this exact movie, it wouldn't work. So anyway, like I said, I really dug this film. I liked the feel of it. I liked the atmosphere of it. I liked the setting of it. I enjoyed Tarantino visiting the setting, and like I think there's a lot of this. They talked about the soundtrack. Soundtrack's definitely great. I think that's something that stands out for me as well. I liked the way that it intertwined with... It's basically this fictionalized version of Hollywood. It's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, right? But you get Rick Dalton, who's kind of a riff on certain maybe actors from that time. Cliff Booth, who I think is a riff on some sort of stunt actor from that time. But it's intertwined with your Sharon Tates, who, rest in peace, was very much a real person. Roman Polanski has issues of his own, shall we say, but also a real person. and certainly a prolific figure of that time. Charles Manson, certainly another character from that time that takes on a lot of meaning in this film. So, like I said, I liked as was I think the case with Bastards, Tarantino taking pieces of history and then putting his unique Tarantino spin on it. I think that's really interesting. I think I enjoy Tarantino's version of history more than I like real life's version of history.
I would agree with you 100% of that.
But I had a lot of fun with it. I guess that's kind of my bottom line with it. I think the humor was great. I love the acting, man. Leo and Brad Pitt alone, like anytime
stellar,
they were on
right?
screen was great.
Have they been on screen together before? I believe they have been, right?
Oh,
because they bebopped off each other pretty awesome.
They did. They really did.
There's a lot of chemistry on there on screen chemistry. I thought it was awesome.
But I can't think of anything that they were in together. Like, I feel like it. I feel like it has to have happened before, but I just wouldn't. I don't know. If anyone knows, let us know. That's what I'll say about that, because I can't think of anything. Nothing like immediately jumps out to me. But in the interest of not just repeating everything over and over and over again,
yeah.
I will say that, like I said, upper half Tarantino for me. Really, it's a good time, man. I had a good time with it. I was happy to park my happy ass in the theater for 3 hours.
For 3 hours, absolutely. About. Yeah, definitely.
I was content to do that. It definitely feels like a 3-hour movie. I wouldn't say it flies by, but I feel like it kind of lulls you into a sense of security, and then it kind of upends you towards the end. And I think that's the joy of the way that this film is paced, is the way that it goes about telling its story.
And that's just it. I know I came in kind of heavy-handed with a criticism, but I enjoyed every minute of it. I'm not going to tell you I didn't, because I did. Certainly did. But, I don't know.
I think there's going to be a lot of scenes. I think there's going to be a lot of like little scenes and like moments of dialogue that like I will probably continue to remember / quote for a long time to come. I mean, Rick fucking Dalton, man. Rick fucking Dalton's he's an icon, man. I think you were talking about adorning your garage with a certain piece of artwork. Is that what you were thinking? There was one shot in particular that I thought was fucking outstanding. And we'll talk about it in spoilers. Okay.
But there was one shot in particular that really captivated my soul in this movie, and I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, I think the bottom line is know what you're getting into. Know it's a Tarantino film. Most people have seen at least something. I feel like almost everyone's seen Pulp Fiction these days, right? So you kind of have an expectation of what a Tarantino film is going to be like. Know that it's going to be, maybe a little up its own ass. Sure, I'll give you that. For me, I'm totally cool with that. I think he's earned it by this point, personally.
And I think he knows he's earned it at this point too, which it goes into filmmaking.
So it just goes up the ass even more, basically, at that point. But I think there's a lot of great stuff, and I think that the payoff for me absolutely made the trek worth it. So I will heartily. Oh, I guess we can. Do you want to slide into recommendation? I was about to.
I recommend. Totally.
As I was going to say, I heartily recommend you see this in theaters. Unless you just absolutely know that you don't like Tarantino things. I think it's worth the runtime, I think, overall, as this kind of love letter to Hollywood, as this love letter to, filmmaking of that era, kind of a yesteryear of cinema. I think it's really great. Leo and Brad Pitt, awesome. Margot Robbie is Margot Robbie. What else can you say? I would say go see it in theaters. That's what I would say. What would you say?
I would say go see it in theaters. I think I had a good time with it. You just have to know what you're getting into, to be fair. Right. It's not a summer blockbuster
and I think that's a fair
movie.
Qualifier.
Right. So that's the biggest qualifier, is know that you're going to see a 3-hour movie. Be content with a 3-hour movie, and if you're content with that, go see it because it's a lot of fun. I think it is a lot of fun. I think I don't know, the cast like you say is charismatic enough to carry the movie. And I really enjoyed the cast. The last movie I saw Leonardo DiCaprio in was that one where he's on the where he gets fucked by that bear.
The Revenant.
Yeah, The Revenant, which was also incredible. But Leonardo DiCaprio's an excellent. He's a fucking good actor. He's super good. You want to go see it for Leonardo on his own? Great. I really like Brad Pitt. He's one of my favorite actors too. You want to go see it for Brad Pitt? Go see it for Brad Pitt. You want to go see it for Margaret Robbie? Go see it for her because she's fucking great in this movie too. Mm-hmm. You want to see it from that dude that was in The Girl Next Door? I think you're kind of foolish. I think why are you going to go see it for that guy? Really, that's our
touchstone for Timothy Olyphant? Really, that's what we're doing?
No, I'm not talking about Timothy Olyphant. I'm talking about Emil Hirsch.
Oh, Emil Hirsch. Oh, yeah, they're both in that. Okay. All right, I'll give you that. I mean, he might be Speed Racer for something.
Yeah. Then you definitely need to go see it if that's it. But, yeah, good movie. I enjoyed it. So, go see it.
God, I haven't seen Emil Hirsch in anything in a long time.
Fucking, I just, when I saw him, I was like, that's the Girl Next Door dude.
Yeah, I think he also beat the shit out of someone and
He beat the shit out of somebody?
Got convicted for it. Yeah, I don't remember the details on it, but there's some problematic people in this movie for sure. I think that's fair to say. Let's just say, as soon as fucking Lena Dunham wanders on screen, I'm like, seriously, dude, seriously.
Who?
She was one of the Manson family. It's fine. It's not, but it is what it is. I'm not gonna
do what? Who is this? I don't know anything about this.
Lena Dunham. She's the creator of Girls, the HBO show from a few, I guess ended a couple of years ago, I guess. But yeah, just maybe
give her a googs. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, maybe just go to our Wikipedia page and check out the controversy section. There's quite a few paragraphs in there. I'll leave it at that. So anyway, like I said, we're just a fucking lightning rod for controversy on this episode for some reason. But you want to move on to spoilers?
Yeah, we can move on to spoilers.
All right. Well, then let's do full spoilers for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Oh, Kurt Russell's in this too. He was fun. I enjoyed them. It's a lot of very, very bit roles by a lot of actors. Like, I think Michael Madsen's in it for like 3 seconds, something like that. Anyway, so I would like to revisit your expectations for this film. I think that might be a fun place to start, and then maybe we can kind of wander our way through the film. Anything that stuck out to us, spoiler wise?
So my expectations for this movie were like a straight fucking like biopic Tarantino, I don't know, retelling of what happened. So I talked to a guy that was a little bit older, knows more. I mean, he grew up during the Manson killings and stuff. Yeah, and and I don't know a lot about that shit. So I was talking to him about it, and I was like, "Yeah, this movie's supposed to be about this and that." And he's like, "Oh, I remember that, and this happened and that happened, and blah 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 blah." And I'm like, "Oh fuck, I don't." I'm really biting off a lot here going to watch this movie. So the entire movie, I was expecting X, Y, and Z to happen, and then it didn't happen because it's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It's it's almost like a fairy tale of a story in Hollywood, which I thought I never paid any mind whatsoever to the movie or to the title. And that really took me back. I actually thoroughly enjoyed it more after I realized what I wasn't going to go see. Because I didn't realize I wasn't going to see it until after the movie ended. You know what I mean? Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Because apparently, from what I was told, Manson gutted a pregnant lady and blah, 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 blah. I was like, oh, fuck. That's some really heavy shit.
You didn't know anything about that until that conversation?
I knew Manson killed some famous people in Hollywood, but I didn't know really the details of it.
Okay.
And so the entire time I was expecting that to happen, and when you think it was going to happen, when they're walking up the hill with a knife, and it's like, oh fuck, it's really going to go down. But then they jump into they go into what's his face who's tripping on acid, and he sicks his dog on him, and then he burns him with the fucking flamethrower. It's like, oh, that's fucking Tarantino. It's awesome. I really got really excited about it. It made me very happy. Yeah, so I was actually really picked up by that. Because I thought I was going to see something much more horrific.
So it kind of sounds like we weren't too far apart from each other in terms of walking into this movie. I would say that I probably had more familiarity with Sharon Tate, with her murder, and kind of the background of that. I just have a weird. I just know too much about shit like that for whatever reason. And so I kind of walked in not knowing if pretty much kind of the same thing. What's the direction Tarantino goes with this? Does he go fully into that and try to recreate it in a way, or does he Inglourious Bastards it where he torched Hitler? You know what I mean?
Yeah, which he totally fucking did, which is awesome.
Right. And I was hoping it was going to be the latter because I feel like it wouldn't make sense for me to have Tarantino just make a straight
biopic
recreation
or whatever,
or something like that, and just to have weird audience inserts in the form of these fictionalized actors. To me, that didn't feel like something Tarantino would do,
and he didn't.
That wouldn't feel like something Tarantino would write, because that doesn't seem like something that would interest him. And absolutely, that's why we got what we got, because it was him probably growing up through that, and
I really wish somebody would just fucking blow them people up with a blowtorch. Fuck
right,
yeah,
he rewrote history. Once upon a time, was like, what if we just had these guys that just fucking killed Hitler? I'm like, would have been pretty good. Yeah, it would have been better. It would have been a better version of history. You're absolutely right. And this is kind of the same way. It was just like, well, what if Rick fucking Dalton lived next door to Sharon Tate and he yelled at these stupid fucking
drunk on fucking margaritas.
Frozen margaritas. Yeah. What if just a chance encounter with Rick fucking Dalton was the thing that basically turned shit sideways, put them, right into the thrust of Cliff Booth's acid cigarette trip, the consequences that unfolded from that point. Like, that's the kind of thing to me that feels authentically Quentin Tarantino. And that's why I say that the first two acts of this movie are pretty straightforward, I think, overall. And then there's a time skip, and then there's narration, and you're just kind of like, all right, what is this? Like, what's going on here? You know what I mean? And then it kind of picks up with that, and it does like the sort of recreation, and then it just diverges in this massive, massive way, and then it just gets full-blown Tarantino. So, I mean, that whole third act, we might as well just fucking talk about it. He talked about the flamethrower bit. Oh my God, that was incredible. Maybe my favorite moment in the whole film is when he goes into the fucking shed and just walks out full flamethrower gear. Oh my God, it was incredible.
Yeah, I was laughing my ass off. I feel
even
like
just like the dialogue payoff to that, where he's talking to Emil Hirsch and he's just like, "So, is everyone all right?" Well, damn hippies ain't, or whatever he says.
Yeah. I think the last portion was that very last bit in front of the gate before he walks into the people that he holds at like a different level. I thought that was fucking awesome.
Yeah, it was a great payoff to, because I think Cliff Booth is kind of more of the enigmatic character in this, where there's kind of that hanging thread of, did he kill his wife? Because that kind of makes him a lot less sympathetic as a character, if there's
absolutely
truth to that, right? And they very much leave it ambiguous, and I think as a result, you can.
Rick Dalton's kind of the blissful, fucking stupid, fucking melodramatic actor, man.
Yeah, and he's kind of washed up, and a bit of a has-been, and like even kind of in the beginning of the movie, he's like, well, it's fucking Sharon Tate and Roman Polanski next door. Like, wow,
holy shit!
Like, I just got to schmooze up to him once, and I'm set. Like, I'm in. And so you see, you get the payoff to that, and so I feel like that's a really nice payoff to his kind of arc throughout the movie, where he's kind of questioning himself. But there's also moments along the way that are fantastic. You know, the little girl, who was great, by the way. Wow, she was great.
Yeah, she was
in this film.
Julia Butters.
Yeah, that's right. I loved all their interactions on that set. I think you can absolutely classify it as meandering and maybe superfluous or maybe unnecessary, but like, it was fun for me to just watch
these
Leo
people
playing
these
Rick
people.
Dalton,
Yeah.
playing this fake character, you know, this villain on this TV show.
And that's the thing about the actors.
I liked all of that.
Because the actors were so... I feel like everyone was just so self-indulgent in what they were doing. It felt so real, you know? Everyone felt so real. Whether it was Leonardo or whether it was Brad Pitt. Like when Brad Pitt was smoking a cigarette on top of the roof, fixing the antenna, he's like, I wonder why I got fucked from that job. And he's thinking, yeah, okay, I guess why, you know, I threw Bruce Lee against a car and broke the car and everything else. I guess I can understand it. You know, that was probably, right. That was one of my favorite sequences. I thought that was hilarious.
I loved it. I mean, it was like a straight up like 5 to 10 minute flashback. And then when it just cuts back to him, fair enough. And he just keeps going. Like, that's incredible. That's such a Tarantino thing.
It's good.
I thought, I mean, I think I kind of alluded to it. Obviously, I think Sharon Lee, Bruce Lee's daughter, has talked about how she's been disappointed in the portrayal of Bruce Lee in this film. And it was very over the top. But I thought it was pretty fun. I mean, it was just like kind of exactly it was a bit role. You know, he was having a fun, had a bit of a tussle with Brad Pitt. I thought it was fun. You know,
apparently that scene was supposed to be like a lot longer, and Brad Pitt curbed it or something.
Well, I think Tarantino wanted it to end with Cliff winning, and Brad Pitt was kind of just like, I don't think we should do that. This is Bruce Lee we're talking about, you know. And I think that's the correct decision. I mean, you know, Bruce Lee gets in a pretty good look in the beginning, and then Brad Pitt's like, "Hey, do it again," you know, throws him into the car, and then they kind of it's pretty evenly matched from that point. A little bit of sparring, and then it gets broken up. Right. You know, so I feel like it's not so definitively one-sided. Like I said, I thought it was just kind of a throwaway kind of thing. Like, it's another riff on just like, let's use a real life touchstone and just add a little, you know, let's amp it up just a little bit so it's subtly off, you know, reality, but it's still close enough that we recognize it for what it is and enjoy it for what it is. And like I said, I mean, in this kind of fictionalized thing, like, you know, I thought it was a totally fun moment, and just the sequence as a whole, again, just to lead up to the payoff of Brad Pitt on the roof. 100% worth it. Just that basically pointless diversion of him just looking back into his past and just like, yep,
I can understand that.
Yeah, I love that. I thought that was great.
I thought that when you know this guy killed his wife, you know, and she had that wife, the wife talking all the shit, and he's just sitting there he's just sitting there with the spear gun, and then it cuts away. You never know what happened.
Right. They never go back to it, so they kind of leave you in suspense with that. But
I thought that was hilarious. But if anything, I would almost say he didn't kill his wife, because the character, you know, it just seemed like he didn't. Because his character went back to the fucking, you know, the lady wanted to suck his dick on the way home, and he's like, I'm not gonna get my, women always been trying to tie me up, I ain't never been tied up, blah 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 blah. Yeah, we're gonna go to the ranch, and then I'm gonna ask to see the guy to make sure nobody's murdered him, because you bunch of fucking creepy fucks over here, and I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna shake him awake, nobody's taking advantage of you, blah 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 blah. He just seems like a good dude.
Yeah. But,
right?
You know,
seems like consistently like he's a good dude throughout the thing. He gets stabbed in the leg. He's like, you know, you're my best friend. You're a good friend. He's like, I try to be a good friend. You know, I took a fucking knife in the leg. I'm a fucking war hero. You know, so I don't know. I don't know what happens. What do you think about it? Do you think that character would have shot his wife with a spear gun?
I don't know. Guess we'll never know what Cliff Booth did.
We'll never know.
Once upon a time.
But obviously
the water.
Rick Dalton.
Somewhere near Hollywood.
Rick Dalton didn't believe that shit.
Yeah, that's one thing I liked about this movie. There was never, I mean, like, I guess there's kind of the moment towards the end where, like, well, I guess, this is it, like, I can't afford to pay you anymore or whatever, like that. But there's no real moment of, like, them butting heads and, like, going their separate ways and then reconciling. Like, it's pretty much, they're just kind of buddy-buddy the whole way through. You know what I mean? Like, they're just chill. They're chilled out with each other. Like, they kind of get each other, and, like, it's pretty much it. And, like even like the brief moment where it was just, he's just like, oh, I don't have my license, or like whatever it is, and then it's like, that's because it's not true. He got like 7 DUIs, and he just drives them around.
Who was the narrator? Who was the narrator for this shit? I consistently tried to put it on somebody, but I couldn't. I can't
remember if it's the same in the beginning, but I felt like it definitely sounded like Kurt Russell for when it jumped in the third act.
Was it Kurt Russell?
I don't know that for a fact, but it definitely sounded like it to me. But I don't remember if it was him in the beginning too.
It must have been Kurt Russell then.
Yeah,
like it was probably Kurt Russell because I knew the voice the entire time.
But she is in this movie, obviously. But I feel like he might have just been pulling double duty with that. I could be wrong, but anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
all I got, really. I
was gonna say, I loved the horror vibes of the farm scene. I thought that was great. Have we ever seen Tarantino do?
No, we haven't. I was thinking about that the entire time that we watched the movie. Proper horror. Yeah, that's what we're missing. Because I feel like he's covered every genre of film except horror.
And that to me felt like his audition for it. And I'm just like, I would watch a whole fucking movie of this without question. Because it was tense as fuck. Just everything was great, and like even when he shows up and you just get the weird unsettling vibes from everyone there, kind of weirdly staring down, the cult vibes and everything, like, and obviously we know a thing or two about Charles Manson and the Manson family now, but like the recreation of that was still, I don't know, it was still pretty fucking horrifying, like, and the build up to him confronting Spawn was great. I thought that whole sequence was
supposed
awesome.
to be he was supposed to be Burt Reynolds. Did you know that?
I did. Yeah, before he didn't get a chance to film anything before he passed away. Rest in peace as well. So yeah, that was awesome. I thought that was a really great sequence. Yeah, we Margot Robbie. I really liked the interpretation of Sharon Tate here. Like, it was a very, because as had he gone down the route of it, being a horrible murder that was actually carried out, by these crazy assholes, I feel like it would have been really, really harrowing to witness. Because like Sharon is just like so happy-go-lucky in the whole thing. It's like a very positive, like, viewing of Sharon as a person, and I feel like that was really interesting to see, how she's always just kind of upbeat about everything, how she goes about her business. I thought that was really great. It was really interesting too when they had her in the theater and they actually just showed actual clips from I think the Wrecking Crew with the actual Sharon Tate in it. I've seen some people confused about that because they're just like, but it doesn't look like her, and I'm like, it's because it's not Margot Robbie. It's the actual Sharon Tate. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, I just kind of like it as kind of like well, what if, like that's kind of the nice thing about this. Like, it's an escapism. It lets you maybe not get so hung up on the details of the brutal murders that night, and lets you just kind of live in a world for a few hours where you have some enjoyable people to watch for a few hours, and they just happened to be in the right place at the right time and prevented a horrible thing from happening, and had this, and it's very cathartic too in this way. And I think especially for probably anyone that grew up through like the Sharon Tate murder happening, I feel like this has to be just the most cathartic experience whatsoever to see, some of these. The murderers, I think, still alive, still probably in max security prison or whatever. But like, I don't know, just to see them depicted and killed in horrific ways, I feel like it's a bad. It's kind of bad when I put it that way, but at the same time, I have to imagine like it has to like it probably feels good to be able to just think, what if this happened? This would be great. I don't know.
No, I mean, I don't know. You know, hopefully I never know how that feels.
Unfortunately, we live in the darkest timeline, as we've well established since a few years ago, you might say. Definitively established as of a few years ago, anyway. But yeah,
a lot of controversy being talked about.
Yeah, well, I would say we're just going for it, man. I think that might
be it
for me. Yeah.
Does it for me.
I saw it a few days ago. There's probably a few things that I haven't talked about that I've probably forgotten to talk about. But I don't know what else I can say without just having to see it again. I don't know if I'll see it again in theaters because it's kind of a long one and I have things to do and people to see and all that sort of stuff. But it's definitely a day one purchase for me on Blu-ray, 4K Blu-ray, I think.
4K Blu-ray, yeah.
Be a nice one to add to the old collection. So yeah, once again, highly recommended. Anyone that's stuck through and hasn't seen the film yet, go watch it. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Good Tarantino flick. A good, solid, I think really good Tarantino flick. But you know, it struck. It gave me what I wanted from a Tarantino film. And what was the last one he did prior to this? Was it Hateful Eight?
I think it was Hateful Eight.
Yeah, I liked this one more than Hateful Eight, personally.
I would agree with you.
I think I might like it better than Django, too. But I know people like Django.
I definitely like it. I definitely like Django.
I don't know. I still think it's upper half, which I guess he only has 9 films out, so it's not like too crazy to make such a claim. But either way, yeah. So yeah, there you go. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Can I jump in? Can I jump in right now?
Yeah, jump in, dude.
With the listener's corner.
Oh,
is that acceptable?
Yeah, it's acceptable. Let's do it.
I have not one but 2 takes on Once Upon a Time in Hollywood that I think we should share as part of the listener's corner. A couple folks gracious enough to send their thoughts our way. So what the listener's corner is, if anyone doesn't know, I feel like I don't know if we busted it out on the last segment. I think we might have very, very end of the episode. If you have any thoughts about anything you've watched, movies, TVs, or anything like that, we're always really curious to see what our audience, what our listener base is up to. So watchreviewrepeat@gmail.com if you want to send us any thoughts or anything like that. Feel free to do so. You may find yourself featured on the next segment of the Listener's Corner. So our many-time guest, Henry Jamie, sent us some messages about a couple of flicks, one of which was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And he says, quote unquote, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was really enjoyable, easily one of the best DiCaprio performances. Brad Pitt was also great. Very stylish movie. I didn't know too much about how events unfolded in real life, but he enjoyed the Tarantino faux reality. Soundtrack was banging. Seems like the first movie this year that's a Best Picture contender, in my opinion. His opinion, it's not mine.
Wow.
Famous director, actors with good performances, and it's about Hollywood. Still Tarantino, so I don't think anyone who doesn't like him will like this movie. So basically, he just gave the exact same review that we did in a lot less words. We're not very good at being succinct, but we like to talk. We're kind of many Tarantinos in that respect. A bit self-indulgent at times, you might even say.
We like to talk.
Yeah. Reading that out loud sounds like we were 100% on the same page with him. I also have another take on it. Let me see if I can track that down real quick. This was sent in by an anonymous listener of the podcast.
Oh, shit.
Who has requested that they not be named. This person says, quote unquote, I am so glad that I did not have to watch Maya Hawke die. Concur.
I agree with that shit.
She bailed the fuck out. she's like, no,
what a
I'm
great
good.
character. Yes.
And actually true, close to what happened. Not exactly how it happened, but basically there was one person that bailed out of the Manson crew that ended up being like a key witness and testified against the other actual murders and the trials and sent them to prison. So that's kind of a riff on history too. And good to see a little bit more Robin in our lives, you know?
Absolutely.
So that was good. This person was disappointed that they did not get to see Lena Dunham die. So we also have similar thoughts on this Lena Dunham. And lastly, it was nice to see Leo with a woman older than 25.
What is it?
She said that it was nice to see Leo with a woman older than 25. Leo, did you see the chart? I saw a chart recently, I think on Twitter, of Leo's dating habits, and like pretty much it's like once they hit. I don't remember what the cutoff is. Maybe it's 25. I don't remember exactly, but basically just like, nope, too old for me. We got to nip this in the bud real quick. So
that's pretty funny.
How old is he? Is he still in? Is he in his 40s?
He's got to be. Yeah, oh, absolutely.
He's definitely in his 40s, but he's not in his 50s yet, is he?
I think
so, Brad Pitt's definitely in his 50s, is he not?
Definitely, I would agree.
Let's find out. We got to find out definitively. Leonardo DiCaprio, 44. All right. Still, there's the age gap keeps getting bigger. It seems like Brad Pitt. I'm gonna give him a. Okay, I was gonna give him a 52, but he's apparently 55. Looking good for 55, Brad Pitt. How about that roof scene? Oh my goodness, look pretty good. Look pretty good for a 55-year-old man. Just taking his shirt off and fixing some satellites and shit.
I'm thinking, yeah, I beat the shit out of Bruce Lee. Yeah,
fair enough.
I guess that's fair.
Fair enough. Yep. And I also have one more reaction for the listener's corner. Not Once Upon a Time in Hollywood related, but Lion King related. Actually, I guess I'll have two more takes. One is a kind of more full-fledged take on the Lion King. Henry says that Lion King was nostalgic, but not much else for me, but not as good as the original. Visuals spectacular, like the singing. Two felt disconnected. Somehow the movie was longer, but felt more rushed to me. Shout out to Billy Eichner for Timon. Really enjoyed his performance. Ooh, didn't think Donald Glover or Beyonce were that good outside of the songs. Overall, kind of disappointed. I think that's pretty in line with at least how I felt. I think we were pretty much on the same page with The Lion King, so I'm going to say collectively probably pretty close to where we ended up with that. It's fine. It's totally fine. It's making a lot of money, so clearly some people have seen it. And then he also kind of unofficially, it wasn't part of the listener's corner thing, but he saw The Farewell with your girl Aquafina in it recently.
Aquafina, what?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Serious actor, The Farewell. I didn't see it, but he says that if you want to test your tear ducts, he recommends watching it.
Ooh.
So that seems like a pretty good recommendation, I would say. So anyway, that's the listener's corner. I've been blabbing on too long about how everyone else wants to live their life. Tell me about that fucking cruise. The listeners have been waiting all episode to hear about it. Come on, lay it on us.
Cruise. The biggest thing is Carnival has someone on their contract that is in fact the second coming of Whitney Houston. It blew my mind. I think I lost my voice because I was singing Whitney Houston in the stands. At one point, I told people, I said, listen, we're leaving this show. We're going to go sing karaoke. And we never made it to karaoke. But those people said, we're going with you. And because I was fucking singing songs on the cruise ship, and it was a lot of fun. I consumed a lot of alcohol.
Did you want to
on that cruise ship?
Did you want to dance with somebody?
Yeah, we sang that song. Yeah. They actually had a show. It was all sorts of movie songs.
Okay.
Songs made famous by movies, and so I naturally and very much enjoyed that show. It was called like Flick or something like that. And they did a really good job. They had some really good vocalists and stuff, and it was a lot of fun. And I had a really good time. Lost some money in the casino, which is, I guess, to be expected.
So they get you.
Yep, that's how they get you. But I had a good time. And I will be going again. Next year I will be returning on the cruise ship, I think. But that's about it. That's about all I got.
All right. Well, you've been back for a little while from cruising. Have you watched anything? Been up to anything exciting since coming back? Since acclimating back to reality?
To be honest with you, it was honestly just work, laundry, trying to catch up on everything.
Laundry's important.
And I've been playing a game called Teppen, which is a Capcom card game.
Oh, okay. The mobile game, right?
It's a mobile game, yeah. But I've been having some fun with that, and in between everything that else I've got going on. But aside from that, that's pretty much about it.
Well, very good. Very good. I finished Chernobyl.
And absolutely incredible.
Fucking excellent, man. Wow.
Terrifying, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It's positively fucked. There's no doubt about that. But yeah, what a great show. I really stretched it out as much as I could, like, because I enjoyed kind of processing it almost on like an episode by episode basis. Like I kind of liked that. Yeah, harrowing, depressing, and, you name it, but really fucking well done.
Super well done. Yes.
Great acting. Jared Harris, Stellan Skarsgård, both great. And yeah, just the quality of it, the style of it was. I think it was the same director for all 5 episodes, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, just the failure of bureaucracy, man. Like it's frustrating to watch, of course, but it was a really compelling show. So I'm glad I watched it, and I think it certainly has scenes in it that are pretty tough to watch because they're graphic or depressing or something like that. Like there's the whole thing in episode 4 with, I think we had kind of flagged it, or I think Luke flagged it for us when we talked about it on Stranger Things with the animals and stuff like that. And like
yeah,
there's things like that, like beyond just the human cost that you didn't even think about probably, but they went there, and it's it just hits hard, man. It was great. It's an excellent show. I highly recommend it. I know you do, because I think you've done it already.
Yeah, definitely.
So
probably definitely one of the best shows I've watched in a very long time. It's very good.
So I think it's going to be a strong contender for a best of list in the end of the
definitely.
year. I think it's gonna find its way on there if I had to guess. But maybe we got some good stuff ahead of us. I'm not sure. That's probably kind of the biggest thing. It's the only thing I've really finished, I will say. I have been chipping away at a couple other shows that I've been trying to work on for a while. Well, not a while. I've been working on Young Justice for a while, so I'll talk about that. I've watched a handful of episodes of Young Justice Invasion, which is the 2nd season. Really enjoying it. It's a nice kind of way to just fill 20 minutes of time here and there. And I think that's a fun way to consume it. 5 episodes in on Chuck. I think the last time I talked about it, I'd only watched the pilot. It's very, God damn it, what's the word? What's the opposite of procedural? It's very procedural so far, very episode of the week, villain of the week, kind of that sort of thing, monster of the week kind of feel to it. But once I think the pilot set up all the pieces on the board, the setup itself is fun. It's really fun. Zachary Levi is really awesome as Chuck. Yvonne Strahovski, Adam Baldwin, 3 of those together are a ton of fun together. And it's pretty funny. I feel like it's starting to kind of settle into itself, and that's every show for the most part kind of takes a little bit of time to find its footing, unless you're Chernobyl and then you just fucking hit the ground running like crazy. Also, God, that fucking guy. Sorry, I'm gonna go back to Chernobyl. Dyatlov, the fucking guy in the reactor, and the control room.
The fucking asshole.
Fucking asshole, man. God, that was the most frustrating character I've seen in a long time.
What the fuck are you doing, dude? What's wrong with you?
Jeez.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, there's no problem. Go look at it. What?
He just throws the fucking binder. It's just like, sir, I don't think I'm ready to. You fucking idiot! I don't even remember what the dialogue was, but I was just like, God. And the thing is, there are people like that out there, and that's what's just infuriating about it too. Is like everyone's been in that fucking situation of that asshole, Yeah. Ugh. Ugh. So anyway, Chuck's a lot of fun. Young Justice is a lot of fun. I watched Spider-Man: Far From Home for the 4th time, and it was still pretty great the 4th time around, I will say. But I think that's been it. I think that's been it for things that I've really watched, I would say.
Well, then with that, dude,
I've really watched. So with that,
I have to get off. I gotta get off of here. I gotta go to the bathroom.
I think we can both get off of here. Let's wrap this bad boy up. Thank you all for listening. If you enjoyed what you heard, spread the word. I'm gonna go ahead and plug Patreon, even though I may have played a part in the fact that our Patreon supporters probably haven't seen any bonus episodes coming their way. I'll talk about that in a second. Our Patreon account is a way for us to keep the show sustainable. We're not trying to make money off of this, but if there's, if you've enjoyed the show enough that you feel like, hey, maybe I should financially contribute, help these guys out in any way I can, you can head to patreon.com/watchreviewrepeat or go to our website, www.watchreviewrepeat.com, and click the premium tab in the top left, then click the Become a Patron button. $2 a month. We ask a pretty little amount of money. Our promise to you, which again, slightly broken so far, is that you'll get early access to regular episodes, which we have upheld our end of the bargain on that front. And you'll also get timed exclusive access to bonus episodes. We did a ton of Game of Thrones episodes recently. That was a hell of an endeavor. We're done with that. Glad to be done with that, of course. But we promised that we're going to be starting a series of bonus episodes about Studio Ghibli films. I believe
Eventually.
we said it was going to be August 1st. It's past August 1st. So clearly that's not happening. Our hope, I think, we haven't hashed it out exactly. I myself still have a few films to watch before we can even sit down and talk about it. I'm almost confident Andrew has seen all of the films that we will be talking about. So it's purely me holding everyone up. So I apologize for that, but I've been preoccupied of late with questions of morality, right and wrong, good and evil. Sometimes the line is it's a sharp line, sometimes it's a daredevil. Anyone? Yeah, I just need to get on the ball and watch the damn things. So that's the plan. Is to consume them because they're good. They're good. What I have watched, I've really enjoyed so far. I don't think that's a surprise to say. It's just finding the time has been more difficult than I probably anticipated when I announced that August 1st date. So life happens. And that's okay. I think our supporters on Patreon will hopefully understand and hopefully cope with that. And if they're going to cancel their Patreon support, well, that's also very cool too. It's totally okay. So later this month, we should have it out for you. I'm not going to put a firm date on it yet because I'm not confident enough to say when it's going to be, but it's going to happen. It's still going to happen. Just don't know when. So look forward to it when we get a chance to take care of it. Website, as I mentioned, is www.watchreviewrepeat.com. One-stop shop for everything you need as far as the podcast is concerned. You can follow us on Twitter at WRRPod. Like us on Facebook. Questions, comments, suggestions, want to be part of the Listener's Corner, watchreviewrepeat@gmail.com. Intro and outro track, Mechanolith by Kevin MacLeod, licensed under the Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0 license. Our next episode should be on Fast and Furious Presents Hobbs and Shaw, which has been out for a few days now, about half a week now. Not sure when we'll get a chance to record on it. I'm going out of town relatively shortly. Hopefully should find my way to Andrew's neck of the woods, so maybe that might be the time to try to do that. Unfortunately, our schedule's a little wonky. Not that it usually isn't, but maybe even more so than usual. Since he's been getting back from the cruise, we've been trying to play catch up a little bit. And I think the expectation, just as a heads up for anyone, is that I'm starting school again towards the end of the month. And I think that with kind of how the release schedule is laid out, we'll probably see a scaling back of releases. Now that we're kind of getting away from the blockbuster summer season, there's kind of, shall we say, less interesting things coming out on the horizon. Not to say that there aren't interesting things coming out on the horizon, but I think we can probably get away with more infrequent releases, so that I'm not putting myself out, so that neither of us are putting ourselves out too much. But we still obviously want to create content. We enjoy what we do, and we want to keep it going. So yeah, those are things coming up in the future. So Hobbs and Shaw should be the next thing on the horizon. I just don't know when we'll get a chance to check in with La Familia, but we'll get there. So don't you worry about it. Until then, you guys have a wonderful day, week, year, month. I don't know why I went in that order, but it's fine. And Andrew will see you out. If you remember,
take her now. Bye bye then.
Took him a while. It's been a while, to be fair, but later's on the Menge.